Good afternoon, everybody. This is Gino with Dealer eProcess alongside the Giant, right, Sam?
Yes, sir.
Who's got for a Giant, that's a very small cup of yogurt. I hope that keeps you full.
Do you want me to bring like a mixing bowl size?
I'm just thinking, Andre the Giant used to drink barrels of beer at a time. I figured someone of the same size might want a little bit more sustenance.
Well, maybe you should convince Joe to get a tapper here so I can start drinking barrels of beer while I'm working. But I don't know how well that would play
I'll work on that. We're going to give everybody just a couple more minutes to log on here, and then Sam, we're going to talk about everything that you need to know about Amazon advertising.
Excellent. Are you still getting paid $50 every time you see the word Amazon?
Yes, this is a very self-serving webinar for me, so I'm hoping to rake in as much as I can.
Excellent. Is that in cash or gift cards do they pay you?
It's in Joe Bucks. So, not really much value outside of this office.
not actual currency.
No. But we'll get started in just a few minutes, everyone, so hang tight.
Oh my God.
All right, well, ready to get going, Sam?
Sure.
Ready to talk about Amazon advertising? So thanks again, everyone, for joining. We're going to get started. As always, it's myself, Gino Ciparroni, here with Sam Bucas, and welcome to another edition of Gino and the Giant, where, Sam, I would say we just talk, maybe more so argue about everything digital in the automotive industry. Is that a fair assessment?
It's a fair assessment. Hopefully, if we
keep
doing this, I really want to get one of these offices converted into like a lounge with 2 leather armchairs to where we can start hosting these. Maybe we can do a video webinar.
A video podcast could be good. Yes, like a fireside chat almost.
Fireside chat.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But today we're going to be talking about Amazon advertising, and specifically, Amazon in automotive. I think that what really is powerful about Amazon is just how ingrained in the automotive industry they actually are, and a lot of people aren't aware of that, Sam. So we're going to cover just that kind of engagement that they have within the automotive industry, and then specifically, what is Amazon advertising? It's a little bit different. It's a little bit unique. Some serious possibilities out there for a dealership. And then most importantly, and we talk about this with everything that we do, is your dealership ready for Amazon advertising? Because as the industry grows and these offerings come to light, I think our natural inclination just as humans is you want the newest, best, greatest thing out there and, take it for yourself and run with it. But I'd say that a lot of times, Sam, dealers aren't ready for it. And we're seeing that specifically, not to go off topic too much, but with the digital retailing side of things, it's, we want to make sure that we're analyzing the business today, for the business that we want tomorrow.
But anything worth doing is going to be a cultural change.
Well, yes. And Amazon's not so much of a cultural change, but you do have to make sure that your other advertising is set up correctly before you can actually handle this next step. So let's dive right in. And Sam, I wanted to, just walk through the Amazon homepage real quick. This is what it looks like, right?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah.
To this day.
Uh-huh. This is actually Amazon's original
logo?
homepage, original logo, original homepage. And here's what's crazy. If you think about Amazon, Sam, how did this site, this dinky little website that only sold books, turn into a near $1 trillion company?
It wasn't with the logo.
Not with the logo, no, nor that stellar site. And really what it is that Amazon's the industry's greatest, or the world's greatest disruptor of any industry that they go to. And I think being a disruptor is something that I know a lot of our more progressive dealers want to kind of be in their own industries. How do you how do you go into a marketplace and change it up and make it easier for the customer and grab market share. And Amazon has done that in a multitude of different industries. If you just kind of look at how pervasive they are, you have Amazon in, obviously, the everyday purchases that you can make on their network, but they're also involved in the entertainment space through Amazon streaming services, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, entertainment services like video games and whatnot. They're in the food industry. I didn't know this until recently, but they have their own Amazon restaurants type of
I didn't know about the restaurants either. I knew about the fresh thing because I know everybody's freaking out because you walk in and it scans your face and then you leave and it charges your account. You don't ever have to. It's transactionless.
Yeah, I mean they're turning into a little bit of a creepy company, but their $1 trillion valuation does say they're doing something right.
Maybe.
So Amazon is literally everywhere. You can buy almost anything from Amazon, even Sam kitten mittens. And I just threw this in here because it makes me laugh because the cat just dies at the end. So you can
PETA might be coming after us.
Yeah, that's all right. So Amazon's in all these industries, and Sam, like I mentioned earlier, they're in automotive pretty aggressively. Are you aware of this?
I am, and I do remember when they kind of joined a while back, and everyone was freaking out because when they said that they were getting into automotive, people thought that they were literally going to be selling the cars from Amazon, and it was a whole thing.
It was a big kind of PR stunt. They actually did a co-branded commercial with Nissan where they did a commercial of somebody actually buying a Nissan online, and they shipped it to them.
Fulfilled by Amazon.
Big old box that said Amazon on it. And I know that kind of caused a little bit of, ruffled a few feathers in the automotive industry. For right now, though, Sam, they're not selling cars online.
No, they are not.
But they are present throughout the whole life cycle of purchase and ownership in automotive. Let me walk you through how.
I was just going to ask.
Okay. So Amazon has, I would call it, 3 distinct properties that are a part of the car buying and the car ownership experience. And first and foremost, and this was one that was new to me, I didn't know any of this existed until a little while ago, is Amazon Vehicles. You ever been on Amazon Vehicles, Sam?
No, I have not.
Okay. So Amazon Vehicles is a research center. They have data on every vehicle going back to 1896. So pretty extensive library of data. What's important about this is that, it launched in 2016, and since that launch, they've already received about 25% of the traffic that KBB achieved by the end of 17. So in terms of people going to this site and performing research about the vehicle that they want to buy, the volume is kind of growing at an extremely high rate. Like I said, they have every make and model on there. So if we think about the vehicle purchase, Sam, these days, consumers, would you say, are doing less or more research about their purchase?
Definitely more, because now that all this is online, people are sitting at home looking this stuff up, watching YouTube videos, checking out the brochures, reading the stats, as opposed to where you would just drive to a few dealerships, talk to a couple people, and learn about it.
And now they're doing that on Amazon. So this network here, and I've perused it myself, and it's actually interesting how it parallels a dealer's site, because you have, what this would be considered like a search results page on a site with your filters on the left-hand side there. You can filter down to any make and model you want, land on a VDP, do your research right here, change your colors, look at the pricing and everything like that.
Off-topic question, did you click on the reviews? Is that strictly only reviews from Amazon, or are they bringing those in from somewhere else?
I did not click on the reviews. That's a good question. We'll have to go
I'm interested.
Take a look at that. Yeah, I would imagine it's reviews on the vehicle, but I don't want to make that assumption.
Were they generated on Amazon or I'd be interested to see where that's coming from.
Yeah, that would definitely be something that's worthwhile on any VDP, to be honest with you, vehicle reviews, right?
Yeah.
So, but this Amazon vehicle network, it's gaining a lot of momentum and a lot of traction, and tons of shoppers are going there. So that's obviously step one in the purchase process. They're not selling the car after the consumer gets here. They're still pretty high funnel. They're going to go down a normal sales funnel, ultimately end up at the dealership and buy a car. But after they buy the car, that's where Amazon comes in again. And I've used it a couple times, the Your Garage on Amazon. So Amazon has another system that allows you to go in and tell them what year, make, model of vehicle that you have. So currently there's over 113 million registered vehicles in the Amazon garage. There's about 2 million vehicles per month that are being added to this garage, and they have custom different garage segments that you can use to set up to basically tailored to whatever your preferences are, as Amazon is, we all know, pretty personalized as you want it to be.
I mean, it's the same way that you create an account with your name and your address and enough information about you that you can one-click buy something. They recognized, and I have to imagine this is hurting Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone, all these different players in the space, because now you have a system that you're used to buying things off of in the press of a button that knows not only you, but knows your car. And you can go on and buy simple things that you don't need to go to a dealership for, you don't need to go to a repair shop for. You can buy simple things for your car. Wiper blades, just run-of-the-mill stuff.
It's almost like you've seen this presentation before.
Almost like I have.
Oh, wow. So, and yes, you're right. So the third step in all of this is the lifetime ownership piece. People are always buying new things for their cars, whether they need brakes or, like you said, windshield wipers, or maybe they want a nice spoiler for their Hyundai Sonata.
I bought brakes. I did recently.
I bought brakes too. So, and
I didn't put them on, but I bought them.
No, and I didn't put mine on either. But this is now Amazon's example of kind of taking aim at the major players out there. They're catching up extremely quickly to the AutoZones of the world. I think the projection said by 2023 it was that Amazon would be the #1 seller of aftermarket parts in automotive. So, and this is for something they also started back in 2016. So it's basically your buddy Jeff Bezos over here, again, taking aim at an industry and just completely crushing it.
Yep.
Through making
things. He does.
Yeah, well, it's just basically making things simple for the users, because exactly like you said, when I go to Amazon and I have my car in the garage, I don't have to re-input any information. All I have to do is type in brakes, and it knows I'm looking for brakes for this car, and it tells me that these are the brakes that will fit on my car. Me, admittedly, not being a gearhead, I wouldn't know much about these sort of parts, but I do trust Amazon after buying from them for so many years that they're going to tell me the right thing.
This is super helpful, because when you would used to go to other websites and you'd have to enter the information, like if I looked at AutoZone or I went to Advanced Auto Parts, I had to enter the year, enter the make, enter the model, enter the trim. One site would tell me this fits, another site would tell me this fits, because everybody's got their own little brand of parts, and so you never really knew what you were doing. This, I know that I can sit here, I can look at every different make of brake pad, and I can pick it.
And it's all agnostic. Amazon doesn't care who you buy from; they're still getting their money.
No, and I get the reviews, so I'm not pigeonholed into picking something that AutoZone's trying to push or another manufacturer's trying to push. I can see what people bought, if they liked it or not, and make my decision that way.
Right. And they've done it so well, they're expected to reach $8 billion in revenue in auto parts alone this year.
Think Jeff will throw me a bill just for the hell of it?
No, he hates you. So, having said all of that, Sam, if you just look at Amazon Automotive, like I said, they're in the whole process. But we're here to talk about digital marketing.
Wait, does Amazon own IMDb?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They do.
It's one of my favorite apps on my phone.
It is a great app. But what does it all mean, Sam? What does it all mean for automotive? And really what it means is when you take all of this activity together, it boils down into one very important thing. Data. Data.
I was going to say math based on your GIF.
No, that's a data GIF.
Those are equations.
Either way. Think of it this way, Sam. Think of Amazon in this light. Number one, we all know Google. Google is where you go to search for something. Okay. Google is where you go to find things. Facebook is where you go.
I get it. They're combing through the sand.
Right.
I get it.
Facebook is where you go to say what you like. By the way, this is a Top Gear GIF. Here's what's funny. Top Gear was the #1 most watched factual TV show in the world, and now it's owned by Amazon. So they're everywhere. But Amazon knows what you spend your money on. And as consumers and as a company trying to reach consumers, like an automotive dealer is doing every single day, knowing what people spend their money on is pretty important. So this Amazon data now for automotive gets put into these buckets right here. And here's where the Amazon advertising piece comes into play. When it boils down to it, Sam, Amazon's advertising, we're going to cover this a little bit. It's banner advertising, it's video advertising, it's technically not any different than showing a banner or a video on, say, YouTube, but the power of Amazon advertising lies in the data that they have. So think about all of this and think about where it's coming from versus the other networks. Google, when you use things like in-market shopper data or behavioral data on Google, that's Google's assumption of who you are and what you own and yada, yada, yada. On Amazon, this is user-generated data. So they know me, they know my car, they know what cars I've researched because I'm logged into the network, and I would never tell them that I have a certain year, make, model of vehicle I'm trying to buy parts for if I don't own that car, right?
Correct.
So this data is extremely accurate, and for Amazon advertising, did you have a question?
I did, actually. Okay. Now, this is a little off the cuff here, so don't laugh, because it is interesting. Can you buy this data simply similar to like IHS, or do you have to use this data within their market?
You have to use it within their platform. You can't.
Yes, platform. Yes. Sorry, not within their. Yes, within their platform. So I can't.
You cannot
obtain.
No, you cannot get this data unless you are running ads on the Amazon ad network.
I think we have an echo in this office. Jeff, if you're listening, make it for sale.
Yeah, Jeff, for real. I've talked to him about that. I said that probably one of the most powerful partnerships that will never happen in advertising is taking Amazon's data and Google's reach and search and matching them together. Won't ever happen, but that would be cool. But we digress. So let's look at a couple of these different types of targeting options to just kind of show how specific they get. So audiences or lookalikes. These are basically where Amazon takes all of this data that they have and find users who are in the market for a vehicle, searching for a specific car on either the Amazon network or any other million platforms that they have access to, and are people who we know what year, make, and model is in their garage, and we know that in this case here, it might be a soccer mom looking for an SUV because they're purchasing HDTVs, home security, fire safety and alarm systems, they're buying sports gear, they're buying training pants for their kids, school supplies. So this is clearly somebody who has children that are active in sports, and who is reading books like tourist destinations and museum books and family vacations and things like that. That clearly is a profile of a consumer who is in the market for either a large SUV or a minivan.
I'd say so.
Right? So we take that data and we hit this person with a very specific ad saying, hey, we know you're in the market. We know you got kids that are playing soccer. Why don't you buy this, Honda Pilot? It's great to take the kids to and from soccer practice in. Or maybe, take a look at a completely different segment, pickup truck drivers. Person's a pet owner.
You found the most typical pickup truck picture you could have.
Did you know that the Silverado's kind of about to outsell the F-150 shortly? Like it's climbing.
That's the first time in a while.
Yeah. Again, another digression, but this is the perfect profile of somebody who would be a pickup driver, right? They're buying charcoal things. They're a home improvement DIYer. They're not like you, where they're just a complete mess and can't do anything on their own.
They're buying charcoal things, propane and propane accessories.
That's right. But taking all this targeting, again, gets us very specific because what it allows us to do is remove waste. And we talked about this in a previous webinar, Sam, wasted ad spend. And a lot of wasted ad spend is spent targeting consumers who have no interest in the product you're selling.
There is a lot of wasted ad spend.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Morrison will tell you all about it.
Ron is a genius at that stuff, for sure. Advertising audiences, reaching consumers that now you've already had a previous relationship with. Here's what's great about Amazon, and truthfully, you can do this with a lot of other networks like Google or Facebook, but you can import your own customer lists into here. So, Sam, if you went to a dealership's website, yes, go ahead.
I was going to say, before we go down the road of examples, explain to me bullet number one, because we've had these conversations, we've met with these companies that talk about anonymous matching and all this different stuff. How is this different than and I'm going to say it, bogus companies out there that want to say that they have these uber high match rates of this anonymous shopper data that never comes to fruition, that I've watched dealers pay boatloads of money.
So it's a little...
To just watch fall flat on his face?
Yeah, no. It's a little bit of a misnomer in this case, the anonymously matching people, because what you're referring to is taking somebody who went to your website, interacted with the website, but did not fill out a form, did not call, or did not take any action yet.
Well, actions elusive.
Fine. Didn't fill out specifically. But what you're referring to a consumer who went to the website, maybe stayed there for a couple minutes, found the car they wanted, and just walked into the dealership. Then what you're referring to is anonymously tying a purchase to that person without having any of their PII previously. That's anonymous ID matching, which, to your point, is extremely inaccurate.
Yes.
And these companies that sell it have at best a 2% match rate. And we've tested numerous companies because we would like to know that data. Nobody has it accurately. But that data is based off of things like IP address and things that are very non-specific to be able to dial into an exact household effectively. What this is referring to is taking emails from, say, your CRM, to where I filled out a lead on your website maybe 2 years ago but never purchased from you, but you still have my email address.
Yep.
We can take a list of those email addresses, upload them into Amazon, and if my email address that I gave you matches the email address that I log into Amazon with, which it probably would because that would be the email address that I would use to do something important like buy a car or something, then they know who I am anonymously just by matching in their side my email address. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, pushing that a little bit further, so now you have this list of customers that you've uploaded the emails, you've returned back, and you've matched to an Amazon account.
Okay.
In those Amazon accounts, do we get back data, or through the platform of Amazon advertising, are we able to see and target specifically certain people that have certain cars in their garage? For example, if I see that some customers have BMW and I have a BMW store, maybe I want to push a different offer to the people that have a BMW in their garage about pull ahead or trade in your BMW, and maybe I want to do a conquest campaign against people that don't have it in the garage. How deep can this rabbit hole go of the matched information to Amazon customers versus who I have in my CRM?
It can go deep, and this is kind of the example of that. So this on your right-hand side here are people that are in, let's say, your DMS who did buy from you.
Okay.
Who we know own a BMW, right? We don't necessarily want to advertise to all these people because they may have just purchased from us a year or less ago. So we'll exclude them. But then you have this list of people over here, and of that list...
And you're using the year ago from your DMS, correct?
Right.
Okay, so this is your information that's determining...
Right. Time. And of that list, this amount in the shaded area is actually people who we matched on Amazon.
Okay.
Okay? In the entire Amazon customer base, we can then pluck the people who we know own a BMW through my garage, who did not purchase from you, who would not be in this circle or this circle. So essentially, in your scenario, you'd be targeting a subset of these people here that own a BMW.
Didn't match, but have a BMW.
Have a BMW.
Perfect.
So you want to say, hey, take advantage or at least pull ahead off.
Those are my little higher funnel people, if you will.
That's a little bit something you have to be careful of, though, because when you get too segmented, and this goes for any network, you can get down to a sample size set of people that just isn't large enough to have any sort of an impact.
Fair enough.
But what you said is doable. And then behavioral data. So again, this boils down to Amazon having information about everybody's activities outside of automotive. So you can build profiles based on what restaurants people go to, whether or not they play video games, what TV shows they might be watching through any of their streaming services. All of this meshes in to create, who the active homeowner is.
Now, I know this is an Amazon webinar, but I have to ask, is this any different than what you can do with Google?
It is different in the fact that it's more accurate. It's more accurate because Google can't match back the purchase data to all this activity. So Google knows to a certain degree,
what you're searching, what you're browsing, but there's a disconnect between your work computer, your personal computer, your cell phone, your tablet.
I search for an M3, I can't buy one, right? If I search for certain things on Amazon's network, they know what I do search for and don't buy, and what I do search for and not buy. So now they know who the high spenders are, who the frugal people are, and everything along those lines.
Which also messes up if you're traveling too, I guess, because if you're traveling and you're Google searching certain items or things, they could get a completely incorrect picture of who you are.
And here's the other problem that Amazon solves that Google and the others have a hard time solving, is that no matter what device I'm on, I'm logged into Amazon.
That is true.
So Amazon has all the cross-browser data. So now, take it a step further, let's say I do go to AutoZone and I do shop for brakes, but I don't buy them there. I go and buy them on Amazon. Amazon still knows that I did that brakes shopping on AutoZone.com and that I bought the brakes from them. So they know I'm a spender and they know I'm interested in brakes. Just as that example.
Yeah, because for example, on my phone, I use Google, I use Chrome on my computer, I'm signed in. I use Safari on my phone and my tablet. I'm not signed into Google through Safari through Google.
Oh.
So because I don't want to. It doesn't bring me anything. There's no need for it. But as far as like a desktop browsing, I'm logged in because I want all my tabs and everything to match. So I guess that is a huge disconnect. But with Amazon, whether I log in on the web or I'm on my phone or I'm on my tablet, still under the same information.
Right, because in any case when you log in, you're looking to probably purchase something.
Yep.
You don't want to have to input your information every time and you would rather swipe the buy now button.
Yep.
So that's another thing. Amazon lets you reach these audiences in a ton of different ways too. So now let's talk about how we take that data and how we show ads to consumers. So as you mentioned, Amazon owns IMDb. They also own a very large number of other applications that you can show banner ads on. They also have their own publisher.
Name another.
I don't want to, nor am I allowed to. They also own other publisher networks that include websites that consumers go browse frequently, to the point that there's 202 million different networks out there that Amazon can show ads on.
So, expanding upon your conversation about the IMDb portion where they can advertise ads. So, I'm looking here on a previous slide, because I can do that while we're doing this, and I see here that they have Gap, they have Macy's, Foot Locker. You have that circled around this Amazon fashion. Now, is that because Amazon resells or fulfills orders for them, or does Amazon have advertising space on those websites?
No, are you referring to the circles?
Yes, the circles that you have.
That shows who Amazon is competing against in those other marketplaces.
Got it. I thought that meant they had some sort of tie.
No, as far as I know, Amazon and Gap are still separate companies until they buy them.
So how much realistic, let's call it, space across the web is Amazon injecting into these banner ad displays as compared to Google display ads?
They are not as large as Google display ads. Google display ads makes up about 93% of all websites worldwide, simply because they got there first. Amazon is growing. Amazon has, as you see right here, a majority of the ComScore top 100 sites. So when you're looking at overall traffic on the internet and where it tends to go most, these are your top 100 sites. Mm-hmm. So you're still catching a majority of the shoppers. They have 50,000 apps that they have access to, and they have these different exchanges. So this is direct to Amazon from their publishers. These are exchanges of other publishers that they still have access to.
You know, I'd be interested in finding out how much more space, and this is relevant because of Gen Y and millennials and everybody that's on their phones 24/7 and using apps and all this different stuff. I'd like to see what the ad space comparatively from Amazon and what they can inject into apps for ads versus what Google has the ability to inject.
You mean physical ad space, like what the banner size is?
Yeah, because I mean we all know that there's the free games, there's the free apps, there's all different stuff.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Okay.
That's up to the app network to show what banner size they want to, or up to the website to get what banner
space they want. I'm not talking about the size. I'm just saying in general the ability for an Amazon ad to be placed.
Here's what's important about Amazon. Now Google does not do this. Amazon does. Amazon has a system where you can go in that shows where you can bid at first view banner. So, if you want your banner to show, if you set first view, Amazon, if that banner didn't show first, it either won't show or you won't get charged for it.
Yeah.
If you're setting first view banner, it's going to put that banner first on that platform, and then down the page might be the next banner that's filled by Google.
Interesting.
So they do allow you to give some sort of priority as to where and how high on the page your banner shows.
That's pretty cool.
And you can do this at scale, but here's the other big opportunity, Sam, is OTT advertising. Do you know what OTT stands for?
Over the top.
Over the top. What does over the top mean?
The way that you present.
Yeah, that's true, too. I am an over-the-top guy. But over the top, speaking of which, my gifts are a little over the top, but over the top refers to on-demand streaming video content. Sam, how many people do you think are cutting the cord these days and do not have a cable program in their house? Or a cable?
When I listen to CNN radio, I hear the ads, and a lot of people are, but I have DirecTV, so I don't know.
Yeah, so you don't have cable?
Oh, I do have cable.
You do have cable?
Yeah, I have DirecTV.
Oh.
I pay for the actual dish.
You don't have DirecTV now?
No, I'm not cutting the cord.
Okay.
I like having my dish. I like having my DVR. I'm old school in that
old
sense.
School. Yeah, you're definitely against the trend.
I get it for $50 a month with a shit ton of channels, so I don't care.
Right.
That's cheap to me.
Most people aren't like you though.
I
don't have cable.
Yeah.
I honestly don't watch.
They want to a la carte pick what they're going to be paying for.
They not only on a la carte pick what they want to be paying for, but they want to a la carte pick what they want, what they watch, and when.
Yeah, true.
Which you can't do on cable. That's why I only watch streaming services like Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything like that.
It's funny, 80% of my time, if the TV is on, it is running my Apple TV, because I have an Apple TV in every bedroom, connected to every TV, and I use Prime, Hulu, Amazon, HBO, Showtime.
So you really are, how much money are you wasting on your DirecTV?
Honestly, if you add the DirecTV in every app that I pay for, I'm probably paying close to $200 to $300 a month in just all kinds of entertainment for no point.
No point at all. But if you look at how people are consuming video content these days, it is growing more and more to these streaming services. So Amazon is firmly in that race. Obviously, the number one streaming service on the internet is YouTube, and they have been for a long time. Right behind them is Netflix.
Which is a difficult stat for me to consume because I don't, like, I get it when you break it down to just video content. But when you're talking to sitting down on a couch and actively watching something, YouTube, I'm browsing, I'm perusing. Yeah, you can get your ads in front of me. That's great. But Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu need to be in their own category, in my mind, in this.
That's fair. You can include YouTube TV.
You can, but I don't think it's anywhere near as big. If you were to segment out this 192, I'd be willing to bet that the YouTube TV portion is nowhere near the amount of people that watch Hulu, Amazon, and Netflix.
Well, which just gives more emphasis to Amazon, because if that is the case, then now they are in second place. Almost like we've done this before. So yeah, Amazon is where most people are consuming content, and with the over-the-top TV and the way that streaming service is going, it's going to end up killing regular TV commercials because nobody's going to be seeing them.
Well, what's interesting, too, is Netflix does not have a commercial-based subscription at this point. They don't. They are completely ad-free. And it's interesting to watch how quickly Prime and these other ones can move up in the race, and Hulu especially. Mm-hmm. They're gaining market share, even though we know traditionally people of the younger generation, they don't want ads. They will pay a little bit more to avoid them and all these different things. But that is not proving to be true in the sense of video streaming, which is a hilarious stat to me because the whole reason cord cutting point was everybody was going to Netflix and all these different apps to avoid the commercials and the wasted time watching TV. Now it's coming back full circle and all these apps are realizing that they need to sell ad space.
Well, that's the bottom line, is that if you look at so many industries, they're driven by advertising.
Yep.
Like how they make money.
Or like HBO, you've got to pay.
Right.
You've got to pay.
So in either case, though, we got to look at where these ads are being consumed. And right now, Amazon Fire Stick, which is like a Roku or whatever the case is.
I have one in my kitchen.
You have.
The TV is too small to need an Apple TV, so I got a Fire Stick.
Well, you're just a little bit of a weirdo. But look at the amount of
TV. Why did I put an Apple TV
on? Sam, look at the amount of activity on Amazon. 300 million active accounts, 30 million active users every month, 7 billion hours of streaming TV.
That's insane.
In Q4 of last year.
That's incredible.
So, as a dealership, you can take your ads that you would normally put on TV during, say, the Bears game, that would cost you $30,000, and take 10% of that budget and put it on
maybe
Amazon.
$30,000 if it was a Bears playoff game.
No, I've seen the numbers. And here's what's great about it. They are non-skippable. They're full screen as of sound, so it's just like any sort of cable ad. It's brand safe, licensed TV content, so you're not, risking showing it on a YouTube ISIS video, which has happened to companies in the past where they got in big trouble.
No.
And the average completion rate, as you see, is 97% because people have to watch these commercials.
You're missing one big point, too.
I was probably going to say it, but go ahead.
You weren't. The benefit to this, not only in the fact that you have all of this great ability to push this content in front of people, with these apps, people don't just have them on Rokus and Fire Sticks. They have them in their pocket, on their tablet, on the plane when they're traveling, when they're walking down the street because they've got to watch whatever episode just came out on Hulu and they have to see it. These ads are getting in front of them in so many more places than traditional TV ads.
So your traditional TV ads are walking out of the living room is what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%. I sat on my couch the other day and I watched an episode of my show on my iPad because my iPad was there and I just didn't want to turn the TV on and I had only 20 minutes left of it. So to me, I'm like, I'm going to watch it right here, close the iPad, and then go finish what I was doing.
Okay, makes sense.
I'm going to do that anywhere.
Yeah. And you're still getting on the major channels anyway.
Yeah.
It's not like you're missing out on anything.
No.
So let's just look at the big picture here real quick, Sam. Amazon lets you reach high-value automotive customers at scale, access all of their very powerful data to reach these people efficiently. You can hit these people throughout the entire car buying and ownership journey and just get some good results out of, really, honestly, not a lot of ad spend. On average, Amazon accounts spend about $2,000 a month. And, when you compare that to an average spend of about $7, $8, $9, $10 grand a month on Google, there's value there.
Now, if you were going to make a recommendation in general for someone who has not tried Amazon yet, or seen the benefits or lack thereof because it's so new, how much would you recommend somebody to spend?
It depends on the store. It depends on the objectives. It depends on the audiences that we're targeting. Like I said, the average is about $2,000. I will never tell you a blanket number that any dealership should spend on any network.
As you shouldn't, if you're good at your job.
No, and I try to pretend to be. So I will never answer that question and say any dealership should spend X.
But in comparison to Google, the amount, let's just say a store spends 10 G's on Google and $2,000 on Amazon, that $2,000 goes a long way, does it not?
It goes a much longer way. That's why I said the average is about $2,000.
It's a more targeted audience.
Yes, it's more targeted, and it's still cheaper ad space to purchase. So at the end of the day, should the dealerships do it? That's what we're trying to find out.
Almost like the same question I was going to ask right now.
Yeah. And the answer is, as long as you've got all your other ducks in a row. Because here, as great as all of this sounds, Google is still your best chance of getting leads. Facebook still has a lot of momentum as an ad network and is performing, again, from a lead standpoint for dealers very well. Amazon's the up-and-comer. But you don't want to go straight to the up-and-comer if you're not doing everything else correctly. And you got to be looking at the right metrics in order to be able to do that.
So if your playbook's already this is a good addition to the playbook that we can get in early on and find out if the juice is worth the squeeze.
Well said. Thank you. Yeah, you got to understand where in that marketing funnel Amazon falls too. As of today, it is still a bit more high funnel, mid funnel, but oftentimes that areas of the funnels that dealers tend to ignore. Not dealers. I'm not judging anybody here, but it is
You're a very judgy person.
I am. It is an underutilized marketing channel that Amazon can fill because it's not direct response advertising. Amazon is not going to be, where you get 100 leads a month from it. It's not going to capture the users in that moment of ready to purchase. That is still what Google is for, and Bing for that matter too. And I want to talk about Bing for just a half a second here, Sam, because Bing is doing some crazy things right now. Bing has some brand new technology that not a lot of people are aware of. Number one, Bing has a brand new ad format called video extensions, where on the Bing search page, you can plop a video right there about your dealership, about your showroom, about your service lane, whatever the case may be. That's a very powerful thing. And the other thing about Bing is that it's still cheap. And I want to walk you through a scenario before we just start to brush Bing off like some people do. Let's just say, Sam, you're trying to buy...
Are you saying people brush Bing off because the thought of Bing is that it is only for the older generation who still uses it?
No, I think people brush Bing off because they just think of Google and only Google, and that's the only search engine in the world.
We do get a little hyper-focused on Google.
I know.
A little too much.
But let's look at Bing. I mean, let's say you're trying to buy 100 leads in a given month, right? You can do it through Bing at an average cost of $15 per lead, but they're only going to have 25 leads for you to buy because their market share is just not as large.
Okay.
Then you can buy leads from Google at $30 a lead, where you can buy essentially infinite amount of leads.
Yeah.
But in this case, what would you rather do? With Bing, to buy those 100 leads would cost you a total of $2,625 based on the math right here, because you're going to buy all the leads that you can from Bing at a cheaper cost and buy the rest from Google at the higher cost.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do Bing, you're not saving yourself any money. In fact, you're hurting yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Bing does have value there in terms of filling your lead requirement at a lower overall cost.
So don't put all of your money in one bucket, is what you're saying.
Right. And I want to make it, I want to kind of hurry up here because I know we're over our half-hour limit that we like to keep ourselves to. But you got to monitor your data correctly. Things like when do you show your ads is extremely important. I swear to God, Sam, every advertising account I ever look at for any dealer out there has ads running 24/7. That makes no sense because during the hours of between here, in this case, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. and then 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., there's no leads being filled out. And that's what this chart is showing us. So if you're advertising during these hours when you're not getting leads and the traffic to your site isn't doing anything valuable, there's no point to do that. You can save the money and only advertise in the hours that you get leads filled out and the days of the week.
So are you saying don't follow the infomercial playbook of keep advertising all the way till like 3 in the morning for the people that are half asleep that are going to make a horrible decision?
Pretty much exactly what I'm saying.
Because that doesn't work in this space.
Right. And I would also say don't advertise on Sundays too, because people for whatever reason aren't filling out leads on Sundays.
Well, that is
in this example.
Because like in the Chicago market, dealership can't be open on Sunday. But on the East Coast, dealerships open on Sunday.
But that also goes back to why I would never give a budget for every dealer on anything. It's all based on your market and who you are. And then we also want to monitor for driving foot traffic to your store. And I would put this in there just so everyone's aware. In Google Ads, you can see which campaigns are driving actual foot traffic to your store. If you hit a certain volume threshold with Google's data, which they won't tell you what that is, but basically if you're spending enough, you can see this information in there. And that's key for us too, going back to your anonymous shopper ID data, right? Because we don't know, or what we do know is that most of these people aren't filling out leads, but we're at least measuring how many people come into the store. And then the behavior flow through. And I'm not going to get into this too much because we're running short on time, but basically you also have to monitor how your ad traffic or your paid traffic is utilizing your site. Are they getting to one page and simply just dropping off at a 93.8% rate? Not valuable.
No, you need to understand where they need to go or where they want to go, and that comes from a lot of testing and analysis of what you're doing.
You'd want a more well spread out campaign too, taking people to multiple places on the site because everyone's shopping differently.
Yep.
So driving people to one page and they just leave is not valuable to you. And then most importantly, Sam, you got to be matching all of this to sales. We talk about this all the time because it's crucial. In our world here, that's exactly what we do. So in this quick kind of snippet of data, these are all the keywords that are running on the Bing and the AdWords network right here that have matched to vehicle sales in this one little scenario. So again, if I'm prioritizing the advertising in this campaign, I'm going to prioritize it to the ads that not just get me the most traffic or the highest click-through rate, but first and foremost, what sells me the most cars. And that's what all this is really about. So, sorry for being a little bit long, everybody. But at this point, I'm going to open it up to questions.
That is my favorite one.
So, we got some questions here.
Do we?
Oh, we got one comment here. It says, YouTube TV is the bomb for sports lovers. Try it, Sam.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. I mean,
Are you a sports lover?
Really only NFL.
Wow.
Until I have the NFL package and I get the Sunday ticket and I get the whole thing for free from DirecTV, so kind of bought in there.
Here's a question. Has Amazon opened up their OTT ad space to advertisers? I thought it was just internal Amazon ads that are shown because it's a subscription service, not ad supported. Yes, they have opened up their OTT ad space to advertisers through their partnership program. So we are an Amazon advertising partner. So through us, you can run OTT ads on the Amazon network. Isn't that fun? Good stuff, Sam.
Great stuff.
Another question here. Doesn't Amazon have a high monthly minimum spend like $35,000? The answer to that is no. Like we talked about, our average dealers spend about $2,000 on Amazon. I'm not sure where that number came from. That may have been an older program that they run. The Amazon advertising for automotive specifically is maybe about 18 months old. So had you advertised with them previously, that might be where those tiers came into play. But no, Amazon advertising does not have that kind of price tag associated with it. So if there are no further questions, Sam, what do you think?
I think we covered a whole lot of information.
I think we did too. And I think we did a damn good job of it this
time. So what is the main takeaway?
The main takeaway is this, is that Amazon is another marketing channel that a dealer should consider. And I say consider, I don't say jump onto right away. I say consider because A, look at the type of dealership in the marketplace you're in. I would say B, look first and foremost at your current advertising. Make sure your Google Ads is set up correctly and the data shows that it's working. Make sure you're still doing Facebook because there's still value in that network for sure. And then once all your ducks are in a row and you're ready to branch out, start looking at Amazon.
And here's the thing, it's not going to hurt you.
It's not going to hurt you.
It's not going to hurt you.
No. So with that, thank you very much, everybody, for joining in. Tune in next time where, Sam, what are we going to be talking about? I know we discussed this already.
Did we?
Yeah.
You told me to think of ideas. I didn't come up with any.
No, I came up with ideas and I sent it to you. We're going to be talking about leads. I know we're going to be talking about websites, how to get it to actually convert better. I think we're going to talk about heating up your website for the summer.
So heating up the website for summer. Yeah. Should we also bring in the conversation of we need to stop treating leads like the endless food supply chain that they are and start focusing on the customer?
That might be more of our first fireside chat.
With the chairs and
the armchairs and whatnot. So everyone on this webinar will get an invite to the next one. So we will see you all next time. Thanks for joining.